Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to get over the hurdle that you're facing to get to your big manifestation. If you've been wanting something for a really long time but you've been struggling to get it, or you feel like there is a time delay and it's taking forever, then this is the exact video for you. And before I start, make sure you hit the like button and let's hop into the video. If you've been wanting something for a while and it still hasn't come into your life, then one of two things is happening. It's either the timing isn't right or you have some kind of resistance that's blocking your manifestation. So to tackle this, I will start with the timing. Sometimes it's a divine timing issue and you're essentially not meant to have it yet. So if this is the case, then I want you to think back on a time in your life when maybe you were going through a difficult time, or maybe you were chasing after something or you wanted something really badly and you felt like there was a struggle. You felt like it wasn't happening. You feel like you really needed it in this moment, in this exact time frame, and you didn't get it. It wasn't happening. But then for whatever reason, a little bit later, you finally get it. And once you do, you realize that there was a reason for this. There was a reason why you couldn't get what you wanted at the time. And there was a reason why it was better for you to receive it at this later time. But you couldn't really see that at the moment. You wouldn't have known that. So you didn't realize it until it happened, until it had already passed. And this happened so often in my life personally, when I think back about something that I really struggled with, or when I think back about how I didn't get that thing that I really, really wanted. And in the moment, it felt so horrible and I was so upset about it. But then later, when things have come full circle and I look back and I reflect, I realized that if I had gotten the thing I wanted at the time, it would have been disastrous, because sometimes the things that we want aren't necessarily the best things for us. But you wouldn't know that until you move on to a different time in your life, a different phase of your life, and you get something that's better. And only then can you look back and in reflection realize that there was a reason why you didn't get what you wanted when you wanted it. Could be a timing, could be that the thing wasn't meant for you because of a certain reason. Maybe it wasn't good for you and you didn't even realize it then. This happens all the time with relationships. Your friend wants to date some guy, he doesn't like her back, he's a terrible person, and deep down you're like, oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't work out for them because he's gross or he's a bad person, she deserves better, or whatever. It doesn't work out, she's devastated, months go by, years go by, she meets like her soulmate, they get married. And you looking back, and even if she looks back, she would realize that there was a reason why that other relationship didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. And in the end, she got something better. But if it did work out, if the bad relationship did work out, she would have been tied down at the time that she was supposed to meet the person she would end up with. So if something isn't happening, it could be that it's not the right time yet. It could be that it's not meant to be, but you wouldn't really know that until it eventually works out in the end. So the second part is the resistance. And this is also another common problem that comes up with manifestation. Sometimes you really want something. Every time you think about it, you feel anxious, you feel worried, you have all of these questions and all of these doubts. Maybe when you think about it, the first thing that you think about is, well, how is that going to happen? Well, why would that happen? And you can't even really see it happening. You can't even envision it or visualize it properly. And there's just so much doubt and negativity when you think of the subject. That's typically a good sign that there's some resistance there. And overcoming resistance can be a very personal thing, can be very different for each one of us, because it really has to do with what kinds of emotions are you hanging on to for this particular thing. If you want to manifest love or success, but deep down you don't feel deserving of it, you feel like you're not lovable, you feel like the kind of people you want can't love you or wouldn't love you, or maybe you want to be successful but you're like, well, I'm not deserving of it, I'm not talented enough, I don't have enough experience. Whatever kind of negativity or thoughts that immediately come up when you think about the subject, the thing that you want, that is the root cause of your resistance, because the first one that comes up is probably going to be the biggest one. And that's why sometimes when you're having a hard time or you're having a rough day, those are actually the best times to do this kind of deep work, to do shadow work and really get to know what is going on behind the scenes and get to know yourself and your fears. Recently, I have had a bad day, and at first, of course, I was feeling down and sad and negative, and then I realized, you know what, this could actually be a great opportunity, because whenever I have those days or those moments when things are hard, I tend to revert back to whatever negative emotions that I have held on to for a really long time. And that is the perfect time to get to know yourself, to get to know what your issues are around this thing, around this subject, because that's the first step to getting over it. If you're feeling like you don't deserve love because you feel like you're not good enough, or if you feel like you're hard to love because you have certain character flaws, when you're having a good time, when you're having a good day, these thoughts might not come up. It might not be easy for you to identify them. But when you're having a bad day, they might surface very naturally. And that's a good time to kind of capture these thoughts and to catch yourself and to catch how you think and to observe your thought patterns. Because then you can begin to debunk them. You can begin to tear down these false beliefs that you have and tell yourself, you know what, I am really deserving of love. I'm a great person. I have a lot of love to offer. And then you're going to replace the original negative thought pattern with a new one. I am full of love. My life is full of love. I have an abundance of love in my life. I am so lovable. Everyone I meet loves me. And these things might feel funny or silly to think or to journal or to tell yourself, but I always reiterate this because it is truly one of the most powerful techniques when it comes to manifesting. If I write down something in my affirmations, in my journaling process, if I write I am skinny and healthy, if I write I am wealthy and abundant, if I write I am loved, whatever kind of feelings and emotions that I want in my life that I don't feel like I have, and I write it down, it always feels kind of weird at first. It feels so odd to be writing this down. It feels false. It doesn't feel real. But then as the days go by, as the weeks go by, as the months go by, I start to see it manifest in my life. Whatever I wrote down starts to become true. Writing I am is one of the most powerful things that you can do because the repetition will get you to believe it. It'll get your subconscious to believe it. So even if you start to say it out loud and you still don't believe it consciously, if your subconscious has already gotten on board, you're going to start to see it manifest in your daily life. And even when the little things come in that prove that your life is full of love, that you have an abundance of love in your life, then that reaffirms that belief, and then over time you start to believe it more and more, and you start to manifest more and more to affirm that belief, and it becomes this really positive cycle instead of a negative vicious cycle that you had before. So in a way, you're just using this to your advantage, and you're using repetition and thought patterns, and you're making them work in your favor instead of against you. And slowly you're going to be able to work your way towards this big thing that you're trying to manifest. And I know self-love can be hard for some of us because our whole lives we're taught to be humble. We're taught to be calm, to not be too loud, to not want things, to not be greedy. So there's a lot of attachment that could arise when you're trying to manifest something big. There's a lot of baggage that you could have that you might not even be aware of. So take each day as an opportunity, because each day is an opportunity to do something different. If I'm having a bad day where I don't feel like doing anything, I will get really negative about myself. I'll start getting into these negative thought patterns. But if I can catch myself when I'm doing that and realize that, you know what, each day is an opportunity. If I'm feeling down and negative, that's the perfect time to actually do something. Even if it's a really small task like tidying up, it really helps me feel productive, and it really helps me kind of say to myself, you know what, I am so capable of changing my patterns, because every single day is an opportunity, and every little action that I take can take me either closer to my goal or further away from it. And no matter how small the act is, it's not about the act itself. It's about you taking a step in the right direction and the momentum that that creates, because it really helps you believe in the positive things that you're trying to create. It helps you believe in the positive patterns that you have. It helps move you closer to the identity that you want to associate with. And again, over time, small little things will add up, and it's going to create such big changes in your life. And it all starts with a really small task that seems really meaningless. So I hope that this encouraged you to do something small today that's going to help take you in the right direction. It can honestly be as small as taking out your calendar and writing down a very tiny task that you've been putting off. A small task that's going to take you just the tiniest bit in the right direction. Little things like that make a huge difference, and it might not seem that way at the time, but it's kind of like when you set a timer for 5 minutes and you start cleaning your house, and when the timer goes off, you're like, you know what, this isn't that bad, I'm just gonna keep cleaning. And then you end up cleaning for way more than 5 minutes and your house is beautiful after. Okay, that's it for today's little video. I hope that you found value in this. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with someone who might also find it to be impactful, and I will see you next time. Bye!